Welcome to r/Am I the Jerk, where OP proposes to his girlfriend, but ends up finding out her deepest, darkest secret. I'm 27 male. My girlfriend, who's 26, of 4 years, rejected my proposal. Am I the jerk for breaking up with her? I was in a relationship with my girlfriend for 4 years. We really loved each other. My family loved her, and her family loved me. We had discussions of marriage. We made plans for the future, how many kids we wanted to have. My girlfriend was always extremely excited about it. Over the last few months, I was giving her consistent hints that I was going to propose to her, and last weekend I booked a nice resort where I would plan to propose to her at a private place. Well, when I did propose to her, she somehow seemed shocked about it and asked if she could have a few more months. That just completely stunned me and was one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life. My girlfriend kept apologizing, saying she just needed to be in the right mental space, and that right then she wasn't. She cried and promised me that we were technically engaged. She just needed a few more months to officially accept the proposal. I felt empty, sad, and embarrassed. I felt horrible. When we returned back to our apartment, she was apologizing a lot, and there was a lot of crying also. The whole situation for me was so heartbreaking and embarrassing that I could not talk about it with any of my friends or even my parents. I could only consult my siblings. My siblings had completely contrasting opinions. My brother told me that maybe she got cold feet, and a lot of people get cold feet, and to just give her time because she seemed like a genuine person. However, my sister told me what my girlfriend did was girl code for cheating, and that my girlfriend was probably ashamed about accepting my proposal, given that she most likely was having an affair. My sister told me that my girlfriend would probably call off the affair in the next couple of months, after which she would be comfortable accepting the proposal. Completely contrasting opinions, but I sided with my sister because my brother gets a bit naive at times. The more I thought about it, the more what my sister said made logical sense, and that just shattered my heart even more. So a couple of days ago, after my girlfriend came home from work, I told her we were done and that she had a couple of hours to pack up and leave. I gave her no heads up about it. I gave her no reasons. She was shocked and was talking a lot, asking why, but at this point, I just didn't trust her anymore. She obviously cried, but I was over it. A couple hours later, her friend came to pick her up, and I blocked her number so I didn't get any more text messages. I'm still suffering a lot, and it will take time for me to heal through this. Am I the jerk? Update. I'm still replaying my entire relationship over and over in my head. I'm still replaying that day. I loved her so much. I put my heart and soul into this relationship. I confided in her my childhood issues because I felt so connected to her, and I thought we were soulmates. We had made plans on life after marriage, which state we ultimately wanted to settle in. We discussed finances, how many kids we wanted to have, what our life would be like 10, 20, 30 years from now. We discussed so much. We discussed engagement rings. She even told me what kind of ring she wanted. Months leading up to our resort vacation, I gave her so many hints, like saying this would be our best vacation ever, and that our 4-year anniversary would be extremely special. I had planned the entire vacation around our 4-year anniversary and planned to propose to her on that day. I started saving up money because I wanted that whole vacation, and especially that day, to be memorable. Even she seemed super excited about the trip, and we were so excited about how much fun we would have. After I was rejected, I just did not understand what happened. I was completely shattered. I thought I had set it up so beautifully. The entire day was amazing. The entire vacation was amazing. I thought that she would be overjoyed with the proposal, especially after seeing the ring. I had never felt so hurt in all of my life. She had never given any indication that she didn't want to marry me, and I just couldn't understand her explanation for why she rejected me. I just could not understand why she needed a few more months because all I asked her was if she wanted to marry me. I didn't set a specific timeline on when to marry. I could barely speak to her anymore because I felt like my heart had been ripped out. It also hurt me that she was crying a lot and apologizing even when we came back home. I still loved her then, but I was deeply hurt. After speaking with my sister, I finally started to make sense of it, even though I did not want to believe it. The affair was the only possible reason for why she would not accept my proposal now, but accept it months later. She sometimes used to work late after hours, and I never questioned it because I trusted her. All the late night work hours, all those friend trips, the truth was right in front of my eyes, but I was blinded by love. How could she do this to me? I shared my deepest feelings with her. I made myself vulnerable to her, and she just completely crushed it. What other choice did I have but to kick her out? She ripped out my soul, and I still did not hate her. I had no feelings left for hate. I was just too distraught. How did it matter to me whether she was homeless or not? I really didn't care what she did with her life anymore. I just did not want to be in the same room as her anymore. My sister is going to come over next weekend to spiritually cleanse out all of the bad energy of my house using sage. I haven't told anyone about her affair because I don't want to tarnish her reputation. Her sister texted me a couple of hours after I kicked her out, and I told her that we had a massive falling out and that we were officially done. I told her to respect my privacy and never contact me again. My parents are also saddened by the entire thing, but they're respecting my privacy and not asking me too many questions. I don't know how I can ever trust anyone again after this. I'm really thankful for my family's support. I don't know how I would have even endured this nightmare without them. Laughing out loud, what did I just read? I have never heard of that being girl code for cheating. Maybe it's just your sister's code for cheating. I would definitely try to discuss the reasons for her uncertainty with her. OP's sister is projecting hard. Or the sister really hates OP or the girlfriend. She sounds super manipulative. Ding ding ding. She hates the girlfriend, decides to break them up, and brother is too dumb to question it. Info. How long has your sister hated your girlfriend? And how many times did they have little spats? You can break up for whatever reason you want. Her rejecting your proposal is a valid one if that's what you want. At the same time, you assuming she's cheating off that is absurd, and I would have personally given her a little while to consider. You're not the jerk for breaking up with her. You can break up for any reason. But honestly, she dodged a bullet. You just assuming she's cheating with no evidence is wild. This was a woman you were ready to marry. Then because your sister said something crazy, you throw her out without giving her time to find somewhere to stay? You're the jerk. Not the jerk. I'm not sure about your ex cheating, but something happened or is happening. You don't go from being excited about something to saying you need a few more months for no reason. Exactly. I think the sister might actually know something. Women can tell when something is going on with other women, in that sort of way. If the sister knew her, it sounds like she does, then she likely knew something almost for sure. My first thought before reading it was the same as your sister. She's cheating or is entangled with someone somehow and doesn't want them to know about you or the engagement until she ends it with them. Seriously, what would change in the next few months? Basically engaged. Either you are or you're not. Her crying equals guilt. Not the jerk, and go with your gut. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk for how he reacted or not? Please let us know. I just got an email on my husband's iPad about his apartment, but we own our own house. My husband is on a trip with one of our sons and his brother to go visit their mother, my son's grandmother. I was cleaning up the den when an email notification popped up on his iPad. It was an email from an apartment complex that they were going to be temporarily closing down the hot water for repairs, sent from one of those automatic senders that you can't reply to. It was addressed to my husband with his first and last name. The thing is, we own our house. We haven't rented in over 10 years, and even then, it wasn't this place. Where my husband is, upstate New York, there isn't any service. I tried to send him a picture of the email, but it won't go through. I called him and spoke to him for a bit. Service was choppy, but I managed to explain to him about the email, and basically all he said is that it must be a mistake and they had the wrong email. We weren't able to say much more before the call dropped, but if it was a wrong email, how would they have his first and last name spelled correctly? For context, his first name is somewhat common, but our last name isn't common, especially in this area. There weren't any other emails from this sender or about this apartment complex in my husband's email, but he is also the kind who clears out his inbox as he gets messages. I sent a message to the apartment complex telling them that I think my husband was on their email list by mistake, but I just got an automatic email sent back that they were out of the office until the 20th with the general rent information pricing, 1 bedroom for $1,600, 2 bedroom for $1,900, and that there were no available units. There was no unit number on the email, but the complex is about 15 minutes away from our house, so I went and I drove by. Which I guess might sound a little crazy, I know. I didn't see anything. Not like I knew what to expect. It's a group of buildings, less than 100 apartments in all. I don't have any reason to mistrust my husband other than this weird email that gives me a strange feeling in the pit of my stomach, as well as a general feeling of paranoia that he's just been bored with me. I've been feeling this way for a little while, but he insists I'm imagining it and that he's happy. I only brought it up to him once when I was feeling particularly insecure last year. We still do fun things together, he still tells me he loves me, etc. I just feel like he doesn't have as much fun with me as he used to, and he looks for reasons to be out of the house, are doing things specifically with the boys instead of doing things with the whole family. It's not like it's something that bothers me every day, just something that I think about when I'm feeling insecure or paranoid, like in a situation like this where he gets an email from random apartment complexes. Anyway, I don't know exactly what advice I'm looking for. I know the advice I would have for one of my friends would be to just talk to him, but I really can't do that until he comes home on Saturday, which is a really long time for me to sit with my intrusive thoughts. Edit. He never lived here in the past. He lived with his parents until college, and then lived in a dorm, and then every place he rented was with me. We've been dating since we were 19. Edit 2. The email wasn't a phishing scam. It was a legitimate email from the email address on the apartment complex's website. All of the information included in the email letterhead matched the information on the apartment complex website. And if it was a phishing scam, I assume they would have been looking for information. This email wasn't looking for anything. It was just an informational email about the water. Update. My best friend called the emergency maintenance number and said that she was a delivery driver who had $100 worth of food for, and said my husband's name, but said that he had forgotten to fill in his apartment number. The guy didn't speak English very well, but after she repeated herself a few times, he did eventually say his name and then told us an apartment number. Update. I'm currently writing this on my ride upstate. My husband, who is upstate visiting his mother until Saturday, has next to no cell service, so I haven't been able to talk to him about any of this other than saying that the email must have been a mix-up. My friend called and got his apartment number from the maintenance man. Both of us went over to the apartment and my friend knocked. A girl answered, but didn't answer the door, just the bell camera. My friend said that she was looking for Adam. The girl said that Adam wasn't there, but wouldn't give her more information than that, which I get. My friend was just a total stranger at the door. When we left, I could see her looking out of the apartment window at us. I tried to call my husband 1,000 times yesterday and nothing went through. The few times the call did pick up, the service was so bad you could barely hear anything. So I'm headed upstate to confront him in person. I have a copy of the email, as well as a photo of the apartment, as well as a recording of the girl saying that Adam wasn't there, which is confirmation to me that she knows him. If this is somehow all a big misunderstanding, I'm going to have my husband explain it to me in person instead of waiting until he comes home. I haven't had a chance to read all the comments, but I will go through them now and try to respond to what I can. I haven't slept, so I hope this makes sense. Edit. To everyone telling me that I should just wait, not confront him, talk to her first, he's my husband. He's the father of my kids. If I'm going to find out that he's cheating on me, it's going to be from him. I'm going to say this for the last time. Please stop advising me not to talk to my husband about this very serious situation. I will talk to a lawyer if need be. However, we've been married for over a decade. We have a family and a life together. I'm going to go talk to him. I understand what the situation probably is. I understand that he's probably going to try to lie to me. I'm not a moron. Final update. I'm writing this from a hotel room. I went to confront my husband. He knew the minute my car pulled up what was going on. He came outside to meet me, and the first thing he said was, "Did you go to the apartment?" And I told him, yeah. So then he said, "So I guess we have to have a talk." And again, I said, yeah. I'm not going to get into the exact details of it. It was a long talk, and it involved a lot of emotions. She is his girlfriend. They've been together for 4 months. She's under the impression that we are separated and going through a divorce. His family wasn't aware of this. His brother and mother, who were there, were horrified. I'm sorry I don't have any more to say. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer, a therapist, and a financial advisor. Thanks to everyone for your support. Reddit really makes you believe in marriage, right? Honestly, Reddit and real-life experiences have straight up taught me to no longer even try relationships at all anymore. 2 of my closest friends are in happy marriages with genuinely good guys, and I tell them often how glad I am to have them in my life, because pretty much everything else these days makes relationships seem like a scam. Just about everyone in my life, including myself currently, has either been cheated on or cheated themselves. I'm talking friends, my friends' friends, acquaintances, family. I'm sure someone else has an opposite experience, but it's rampant in my life. So for me, it's not just a Reddit thing. I feel hopeless very often nowadays. Is it unfair that my dad told me I had to pay rent or move out at 18, but didn't tell my brothers the same thing? I, 17 male, made this account because I think my dad is being unfair despite everyone I asked telling me he's not. I talked to my family about it for support, and they were unsupportive and actually called me ungrateful. I turn 18 April 21st, and my dad told me that he wants me to start paying rent after I turn 18 or I'll have to move out. This made me upset because both of my brothers weren't forced to move out or had to pay rent when they turned 18. My oldest brother, who's 25, only moved out 2 years ago, and my other brother, who's 22, still lives with us. I told him this, and he told me that he knows and he made a mistake when raising them, and he wasn't going to make the same one with me. I asked my dad if he was saying this to my brother, who's 22, and he told me that he wasn't because he was unemployed, and if he were to kick him out, he'll be homeless. I asked my dad why he cares about him not being homeless but is ready to make me homeless. He told me that he'll help me find an apartment and will co-sign the lease if I choose to move out. I asked my dad why he wouldn't just do this for my brother instead, but he told me that he doesn't trust him, which just upset me even more. I feel like I'm getting punished for being well behaved. I explained this to my dad and told him that if he would have parented better, he wouldn't have to force all of his regrets on me. My dad got upset with me and told me that I was being unfair and that I know how hard he tried to raise all of us and I can't fault him for everything when he tried his best. I tried to call my family to try and have them convince my dad that he was the one being unfair, but they told me that I should be grateful my dad cares about me and that they agree with him. They told me his only fault is letting my 22-year-old brother and 25-year-old brother stay as long as they did, and they are glad he wasn't going to enable me. I did nothing wrong. I genuinely feel like I'm getting punished for my brother's actions, and I don't find that fair at all. I understand that the father is trying to help, but not asking the 22-year-old to get a job to help or to move out, but forcing your 17-year-old to pay rent or move out is not fair. They should all be treated the same. The 22-year-old should not be coddled. The situation with the 22-year-old is his fault, and he's trying to make an example out of the 17-year-old. I can understand if OP was a spoiled brat, but OP has been working for 2 years. The father could have at least allowed OP to save up for a year or two before moving out. So the father allows the 22-year-old to remain jobless, live rent-free, but your kid that has been working for 2 years, got a scholarship, and has been a good kid gets punished? You guys don't see it as punishment, but my friend went through the same situation and it was super rough for him. He was literally homeless on holidays. Thank goodness my parents allowed him to come stay with us. His family continued to coddle the 25-year-old son that has been living rent-free for years with no consequences. I agree with this. There's nothing wrong with pushing your kids to become independent, but you have to be consistent. It's unfair and it's an easy way to brew resentment between your kids. Few things hurt sibling relationships more than skewed treatment. Okay, buddy, let's work through some things. What is your plan for next school year? Are you planning to go to college? If not, can you go to college? If you have not yet applied, check to see which universities in your state have rolling admissions. Apply and apply for student housing with a room rate. Then, once you have all that secured, negotiate with your dad to be able to stay through the summer. Tell him the dates that you'll move out. If his issue is that he doesn't want you living there indefinitely, this would give a hard move-out date. Tell him that you would need a place to stay during Thanksgiving break, winter break, and next summer unless you can get housing next summer at the university, but this would get you well on your way. My guess is if you present a well-thought-out plan with dates, he'll be more open to you staying for a few more months. I'm with you on this one. I think if he wants rent, that's fine, but if he's going to do this with you, it needs to be the same for the 22-year-old. Move out and go no contact. If dad wants to be a jerk and everyone in the family agrees, I'd never talk to them again. This is exactly how to be a father who doesn't have a relationship with his son. I honestly don't understand the American tradition of kicking your kids out at 18. I don't understand how these parents can expect any kind of close relationship with their kid afterwards. Not the jerk. This would be horrible even without the context about unequal treatment. It's a leftover expectation from a time when housing was easily affordable. Also, this sub seems to hyper-focus on legal obligation as the sole determining factor of being a jerk or not. So you will have plenty of people seeing nothing wrong with what OP's father is doing in theory. They'll just criticize his uneven application in practice. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or their dad? Please let us know. So 50 years ago, the average apartment rent was about $200 a month, and that gave you as much buying power as $1,200 currently does. Don't you just hate inflation? Your appointment is now canceled. 2 years ago, I was given a new-to-me phone number when I purchased a cell phone. Immediately, I was bombarded by friends, family, and collection agents of the previous owner of the number, not the phone. They were all looking for the same woman by her name. First couple of months, I answered that that person must have changed their number, that I just got this number with a new phone, no harm, no foul. But it hasn't stopped, and I found out why. She's still giving out this number. One day she logged into her coffee app and it sent this phone the sign-up code. I bounced to it and logged in with the code. The account had her email address. Finally, I can let her know what's going on and hopefully this will stop. I used that info to contact her. I told her I'm sure she didn't mean any harm, but it's become ridiculous. Please stop giving out this number. She replied that I'm some kind of a stalker. I replied that if she continues to give out my number, I will cancel every appointment that comes across and tell her family that something happened to her and tell creditors where to find her. She blocked my email. I figured all is well if she stops, but she didn't. Okay, bad. A month ago, her application for a school was canceled. Today, her dental appointment for Thursday was canceled. Stop sending your crap to my number. I plan to finally change this number when I get a personal issue resolved, but honestly, I'm low-key enjoying this, and she's still giving out the number, so… Edit. So I had someone warning me that I was going to go to federal prison for 25 years for this. Guys, I'm only reacting to her actions. It is easily provable with the emails I have and the dates that she continues to give out this number that she is the harasser. If she goes to a new doctor and gives this number, that's harassment to me. Writing a C to reply to a text is not a federal crime. Karen teacher takes my kid's book because she reads too much. My daughter, Chloe, who's 11, is very active outside of school. She plays soccer, takes swimming lessons, and will play outside a lot with the neighborhood kids. She's very social. Most of her friends are from outside of school. At school, however, she struggles making friends. Chloe has ADHD and was bullied in 3rd and 4th grade for some of that. While it was brought under control by 5th, current grade, these kids still don't play with her and pretty much ice her out. While I don't think they have to play with her, it also means that she doesn't socialize a lot at school. She's okay with this. Her teacher says our daughter often plays alone at recess or reads. My wife and I were not very concerned and explained she's very social and active afterwards. Cleo is a huge reader. She's currently reading her way through my wife's collection of books from her childhood. She loves them and treasures them, knowing that they were her mama's and wants to take great care of them. She came home on Tuesday very upset and worried her mom would be upset with her. I asked why, and she said her teacher took her book away and won't give it back until tomorrow. When pressed for more information, she said she was reading at recess. Her teacher walked over, took the book, and told her to go play. My daughter begged for her book back, and the teacher refused. I quickly assured Cleo that she wasn't in trouble and even called my wife at work to have her back me up. It was quite concerning that she was so afraid, as my wife isn't one to fly off the handle. She's also gentle with Cleo. As suspected, my wife assured her she wasn't upset and that Cleo did zero wrong. The next day, I brought Cleo to school early and walked to her class. No one but the teacher was there. I told the teacher to give me the book. She obliged and tried to defend herself. I told her to save it, and she had no right. There is no rule that Cleo has to do physical activity at recess, and we expressed no concern. The teacher said she was allowed to set boundaries for her class, but I pointed out recess was free time. It's not like Cleo is reading during math. We went back and forth, and finally I said I'd be reaching out to the principal. The issue was resolved quickly. I don't know the particulars, except the principal told me that Cleo is allowed to read at recess, and unless she's actively harming someone or reading during a non-designated time, she wouldn't have any more books confiscated. My wife and I were pleased, Cleo even more so. My cousin is a teacher at this school, just a different grade. She says what I did is hot gossip in the teacher's lounge and that I've been marked as one of those parents. She says the teacher isn't paid enough and I should have just accepted the rule. When I pointed out that we only have 2 months left at this school, Cleo is our only kid and starts junior high in August, that's not a concern. My wife and I feel justified, but we're wondering if I'm the jerk. Not the jerk. And how does a teacher's pay have to do with her overstepping her boundaries? One would think that if she wasn't paid enough, that she'd actually want to relax at recess instead of harassing students. Not the jerk. How can you actively discourage reading and call yourself a teacher? Not the jerk. I did find the bit about the teacher not being paid enough and you should have just accepted the rule to be pretty comical. Your kid should not be mistreated at school because a teacher isn't paid enough. You did the right thing. The teacher was strangely out of line and lacking in compassion. Even if well-intentioned, She effectively punished Chloe, which was wildly inappropriate. Wild Karen loses it in the ER. I'm a veterinary technician and I got injured on the job. A puppy was handed to me and he started flailing and managed to take a chunk out of the cornea of my eye with his claw. It's amongst the most painful injuries I've ever had. I can't see to save my life, so I called my dad and asked him to take me to the ER. He picks me up directly from work. The ER is a madhouse. You know it's going to be bad when there's a handful of staff waiting on an ambulance to arrive. While I'm waiting in the exam room, I hear a page come over the system for a code blue. That means a patient has arrested, and it's an all-hands-on-deck situation for CPR. It's also a reminder that you're lucky to be waiting in an ER because you're not dying. I'm eventually seen by the doctor, and I get a few sidelong glances from the nurse at my scrubs. They seem to notice the large paw print logo embroidered on them from the hospital I used to work at, and they leave me be. After my visit, the nurse who's discharging me points down the hall at the door and tells me to exit that way, and then she gets back to work. As I'm walking down the hall, a woman pops out from one of the exam rooms on my blind side and immediately starts yelling. I almost crash into a desk. Our characters will be concerned mother, mortified daughter, and yours truly. Karen. Do you know how long I've been waiting? Me, gesturing in vain towards the paw print logo. I don't work here. Do you think I'm an idiot? Me, I can get someone to... We've been waiting for 45 minutes in this room. My daughter's tummy hurts. Do you even care about her? Her daughter, who seems to be about 13 years old, covering her face with her hands, looking a bit like she wishes the floor would swallow her up. Me, I can't help. Karen, slowly like I'm an idiot. Her tummy hurts. Do you people even care at all about how long we've been waiting? Me, in disbelief over how someone could be so clueless about triage. Did you not see the man come in that got hit by a car? Just a guess, but hoping to give her some perspective. Is he my daughter? No. Then why would I care? What's wrong with your face? Quit winking at me. Me, just struggling to see over here. My bad. At this point, a security guard shows up. He stands between us and looks at her, then at me. Me, desperately pointing at the paw print logo. I'm a patient. He nods and turns to Karen and starts explaining that I don't work there. I didn't hang around to see the aftermath because, the whole couldn't see part. Some say her daughter's tummy hurts to this very day. Am I the jerk for making my son, who's 16, volunteer at the zoo? I'm divorced, but I have primary custody of my 3 kids, who are 16, 12, and 8. Last week, I took them all to the zoo, and it was mostly a good experience. The 2 younger kids especially liked it, but my oldest, he isn't very fond of animals. We passed a zookeeper working hard cleaning a giraffe exhibit, and to my surprise, my 16-year-old son pointed and said to his brother, "That's why you do good in school, I guess, or you end up scooping crap for a job." He said it loud, too. The keeper and the nearby guests surely heard. I was very embarrassed. I quickly led them away and left the zoo soon after, and asked him where he learned to talk like that. I said, "That's not even true. Don't many of them have master's degrees and higher?" But he said he thinks it's gross menial work for people who don't want to work with their intellect, and anyone could do it, referencing enclosure cleaning, I assume. I was pretty appalled by how he's learned to look down on manual labor, but particularly zookeeping, because as I understand, it's not even easy. Sure, it's manual labor, but I don't think I could do what those zookeepers do every day. I gagged from our cat's litter box alone. I thought the best way to teach him more respect and appreciation was to sign him up to volunteer at the zoo. So that's what I did. I found a zookeeper for a week program at a zoo not far from here, and I enrolled him. When I told him, he was very upset and said, "Why would you do that? That sounds awful." I told him I thought he had said it was easy, so surely 1 week wouldn't hurt. But he said, "Yeah, cleaning up messes is easy, and that anyone can do it, but that doesn't mean I want to." His father thinks this was too harsh when he found out. I'm guessing some of his sentiments may be influencing these attitudes, but I decided to stick with it. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Making him do the work will help him realize how hard a lot of these jobs actually are and the amount of effort people put into what they do. The jobs we might see as undesirable are the ones that keep a lot of systems running. To make that comment loudly in front of the zookeeper is just harsh. Oof. My daughter's middle school class took a zoo field trip once, one of those overnight ones, and I was a parent chaperone. In the morning, one of the keepers led us around a bit and then stopped outside the Lion Night House. She pulled out a $10 bill and said, half jokingly, "Okay, I'll give $10 to anyone who can come in here with me and help me clean." So I and two of the kids walked up with her, opened the door to the inside, and OMG, we all turned around retching and coughing for fresh air. I didn't know it's possible for anything to smell that bad. The zookeeper laughed like it was nothing and said, "Just kidding, I wouldn't do that to you. Guess I have to clean this alone. Enjoy the rest of your day." I don't think 99.9% of people could do that job like it all. Furthest thing from easy, not the jerk. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.